Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am fine. Happy Wednesday, I think we're at. So, what's going on? Well, our gold got all the way up to 33.57. And then it dropped all the way back, and I'm expecting a 10 o'clock rise because at 9:45 it's dropping. So we will see. It is rising, but let's see how far we go. 33.34, but at least it's above the 33.20, and then all of a sudden it'll go to 34. So it dicks around here for a while and then goes. Silver 36.24. So on the one hand, it's sitting in the 36s, which is great, but it sort of stops. So we got to break 37.38 and then get to 50. So it looks like it's being held back a little bit. But that's the nature of the beast we are playing. Let's see if the Dow somehow I haven't this first sneeze of the day. So somehow the Dow is up $121, which is such a joke because who would be stupid enough to put their money in stocks? But wait, it's the workers who are in their 401ks because they get a 3% match is what's driving this up. Now, some people can get out of it, right? And say, I'm stopping, don't take anything out, don't match me. I'll take that money and buy gold and silver with it, which is what I did. I didn't want the matching. I didn't want the 401k. I thought that was bullshit because I'm going to lose all my money in stock in the 401k. Anyway, that's where I'm at with it. So that's probably what happens, why the stock market goes up. It's people who, for the lack of their skill, don't know what to do. So they go to work, they do the 401k and matching. Well, that's got to go into mutual funds, which goes into the stock market. So there's always this demand for it. But what everybody's missing, there's $15 trillion in the stock market from foreigners, British, Chinese, Germans, French, Italian, Canadians. And they're going to pull it out because they realize the dollar's worthless. And they see the value going down and the demand for the dollar is dropping and BRICS is going up and gold's going up. And so when they pull the 15 trillion out is when people will then figure out that they're screwed. Right now they don't know it. They say, oh, it's up $135. It's 43,000, which is, that's a bubble. It's not worth it. It's ridiculous. But that's what's happening. I am on a bit early today because I have a 2 o'clock appointment. Not a job. Sorry. So I have a 2 o'clock appointment. So I figured 10:30 to 12:30, even if I go to 1, I've been going 2.5, 3 hours lately. I didn't want to be bad. And I don't have to start. Sometimes the way my day is, I might start at 11 or 11:30 to do that. Normally I don't eat till 11, but I'm eating now, 10:30, 10:40. Daria's okay. I still haven't gotten a word on hers. I'm starting to get really weird vibes of why the fuck don't you want to meet me? or do you want to keep using the excuse of the war? So I'm starting to lose a little of interest. Not a lot. It's that little doubt creeping in, like I do when I pick football games, and you pick and you go, yeah, I like Cincinnati over, and then you kind of, well, maybe not, maybe there's the other end of it. So we will see. She's got to realize that I'm with her, but we have to meet. I can't not meet her. And if she doesn't meet in July, I'll just say, well, let me know when you're going to meet. And by the way, you're on your own for rent and food. I'm not a bank. I'll help you because we're going to be together. But if we're not going to be together, there goes the help. Anyway, that's what's happening with her. So I'm trying not to get too frustrated, stay stoic, and see what happens, and just wait her out. But I need my money. I'm not working, so we will see. And that's what is what puts pressure on gold and silver. We know it's going up, right? We know Mahomes is going to win the game. We don't know how, and they're losing. And you go, okay, and you're waiting for Mahomes to start throwing touchdowns and winning the game. And that's the same thing here. We know gold and silver is going to go to the moon because there's no other choice. And again, this is not an opinion. This is what will happen. And, and COMEX can do what they want. The LBMA can fight it to a point. There's no demand for the dollar. And everybody's joining BRICS, 44 countries, and they all buy gold, and they're suppressing the price as best they can for now. But it won't last. And so it's frustrating because you do have gold and silver, and if it goes up in price, you make money. As I said, if you have 100 ounces of gold and it goes up $100, you just made 10 grand. Well, you don't want that to stop. Now it's not coming down, but it's got the 3,300, and now it's sitting 33.10 to 33.50, and it's like, where's 3,400 already? And what doesn't make sense is why the U.S. is still doing the derivative. They're still doing the shorts. The cat's out of the bag. We know what's going on. If you didn't buy by now, what are you waiting for? So I don't really get it. It makes no sense. BRICS has their meeting July 17th in Brazil, and COMEX July 1st, Basel III, which appears to be you're not stopping it, U.S., because they kind of want to stop it. They don't want to pay. They don't want to deliver. But it really doesn't matter, because if it doesn't go through, then everybody will start buying. They don't have to buy. So these countries who are buying start buying from China at that price. But from what I can tell and what I've been listening to, it's going through July 1st. So don't worry about that. And it should start raising the price because they'll have to come up with physical, which they don't have. And they need that to deliver on these shorts. When they short, the other side says, I want to take physical. I want to take delivery, and then they got to pay them. So right now they're not delivering, which is ridiculous. You got to deliver. That's the contract. That's your game. So we will see. Anyway, I think I'll run and buy 10 ounces of silver while it's still nice and cheap at 36. Well, it's jumped up to 36.30. Gold jumped up to 33.38. So as I thought, there it goes after 10, and now it'll probably go all the way back to 33.60 or 50 where that was. And this is 36.30, starting to move back to 36.6, and then we should get a good $40 silver and then a 50, and then 100, and then a 500. And that's where it's going. And that's not a guess. That's reality. All right, let's look at baseball. Yesterday, Detroit wins 5-3 over Baltimore. Cade Povich, even though he's lefty, still sucks. 1-5 with the 5.46. The manager pulls his lefties, which are his better hitters, out of the lineup like an idiot. It's really stupid. He's letting the other team dictate what he's doing. They get a win, but I had over 9, and they played an 8. They scored 5. I thought they'd score more, and I thought Baltimore would score some, even though they don't hit well. Pittsburgh, who can hit, loses to Miami 3-2. I had Pitt over 8, but I don't bet it. The first bet, Cleveland under 8, and Cincinnati wins 1-0, and under 8 wins. That's our first bet. Then I got Philadelphia, which blew a lead. They were up 4-3 late, and Taijuan Walker let it out. So the Cubs win 8-4, but I didn't play it. The Mets under 7. This I got screwed on. It was 7, and then the Mets win 5-4 in 10 innings. So I'm getting hurt on these 10-inning games, so I lose that one. But they were winning going into the 9th. It was a 7. Boston 3-1. I have over 9. Boston doesn't hit at home. Ryan Peapot with his 3-3-1 holds Boston to 3. Luis Galanto with a 5.45 holds them to 1. What the hell? Minnesota under 9, and Texas scores 16 runs on them and beats them 16-4. One of those days. Atlanta over 8. Loses 4-1. That's a loser. A lot of losers today. The Yankees to beat KC. This was the lock. The Yankees win 10-2 with Max Fried. So that's why you bet on Max Fried. Noah Cameron with his 2.17 ERA gives up. Well, he didn't give up 10 runs, but he gave up a lot. And that's the problem. He had pitched in 5 or 6 games. This was a bad matchup for him. St. Louis under 8.5 loses. Unbelievable. Houston under 7. There's a winner finally. Let's see. The 49ers, they win 6-5. I had them. Oakland over 9, 2-1. Then I have Seattle, which loses to Arizona, and San Diego. I did play when I saw Dylan Cease, and they killed the Dodgers 11-1. So my bets: Cleveland under 8 wins, the Mets under 7.5 lose, the Yankees win, Oakland over 9 loses. What a pathetic day. A lot of losers. A lot of the games I didn't know. There were bad matchups. ERA, 4 ERA pitchers, and you don't know if they're going to shut them out or give up 8 runs. Hey, Prophet. Yeah, I'm on early today. I got an appointment at 2:00, so sometimes I go 3 hours. I start at 10:30, so it's a good break today. That's why I usually do 11 or 11:30. Now during football, Saturdays will be 10:00 every Saturday. Sundays will be 11. Gives me time to go through the games. Gives you guys a chance to bet them, although you should have it anyway, because I'll give you the free pick during the week. I won't wait till Saturday. Saturday, we're more looking at any injuries, any line changes, things like that. A lot of early games today. Getaway Wednesday. Well, we will see. Terrible picking yesterday. All right, let's go to today. Although Max Fried came through. I heard somebody say Scooble's so much better than Max Fried, and I go, Max Fried's a lot better. What are you talking about? Got a better ERA. Scooble's good. I don't deny that, but he's not this much better than Max Fried. I mean, Max Fried's got like a 1.9 ERA. Like, oh, he's terrible. He's got a 1.9 ERA. All right, 12:35 is the first game. A 1972 rematch of the AFC Championship, the Dolphins and the Steelers. Pittsburgh minus 155, 8.5. Kale Quintrell, 3-6 with the 5.63 for Miami. Bailey Falter, 4-3 with the 3.49. See, I mean, this is the problem with baseball. Kale Quintrell with the 5.63, not a very good pitcher. He could shut you out though, and Pittsburgh doesn't really have a lot of hitting. Bailey Falter, 4-3 with the 3.49. Looks like he's a better pitcher. But again, it's very misleading, a 3.49 and a 5.63. Both of them could shut out or give up 6 runs today. And that's the dynamic you get in baseball that you don't get in football. You know what Mahomes is. You know what Caleb is. You know what these guys are. You know what Brady is. You knew what Manning was. You know what Aaron Rodgers is. I think Aaron Rodgers is getting a very bad rap. I don't understand. Oh, like he's terrible. Come on. I mean, the guy's MVP 5 times and won a Super Bowl. And you guys are thinking, what, he sucks? I'd rather have him than Jared Goff or Jordan Love or any of these clowns. All right. I'm going to take Pitt just because they're at home. I do not love the game. The Cubbies go to Philly. The Phillies had them. The Cubbies got a lot of runs late and won the game 8-4. The Cubs are 102 and 8.5. Ben Brown, 3-4 to 5.37. Jesus Luzardo over of 8.5. I'm taking this game over 8.5, and I'll go 3 units on it because I think 2 pretty high scoring teams. One thing I noticed yesterday, Bryce Harper was out. So he's again hurt. They scored 4 runs. The Cubbies are lighting it up, so we'll see. And the Cubbies had trouble with the Tigers. I was shocked they had so much trouble with Skubal and that they had a lot of trouble with the other pitcher, who I can't think of the name. I don't know. I don't know what the other guy's name is. That's how good he is. But I was shocked they had so much trouble with him, as good of a hitting team as it was. Cincinnati goes to Cleveland. Since he won 28.5, Nick Lodolo, 4-4 to 3.21. Logan Allen, 3-4 to 4.42. We know Cleveland doesn't hit. We'll go under again. We won under yesterday. Cleveland under 8.5. Not going to bet it, but we'll see. Atlanta, Milwaukee. Atlanta 145 and 8. Spencer Schwellenbach 4-4 with the 3.24. Chad Patrick 3-5 with the 2.84. Again, this looks like a low scoring game. We'll go Atlanta under 8. No bet. Profit. The thing about Rodgers is whenever he goes to a new team, it takes him the first half of the season to get into sync with the offense. Well, based on what? He's been on one new team. Okay. He was at Green Bay for 20 years. He went to the Jets and hurt his Achilles in the first play or the first series. He hurts his Achilles, so he's out. Last year, he comes back after the Achilles, so it wasn't a new team. It took him a while to get going just from the injury, and then he was very good the second half of the year. But because of the injury, not because it was a new team, he had his receivers from Green Bay. I mean, he got Devontae Adams, so that wasn't the reason. It was the Achilles. Yeah, but he hurt his Achilles. So you can't say, like, oh, he's been on one new team. Like, wherever he goes, he went to one. Takes him the first half of it to get into sync with the offense. See, that's just not true. That whole statement's just false. It doesn't. He hurt his Achilles in the first game, so it didn't take him time to get used to it. He hurt his Achilles. The next year, he was still hurt. It takes a while to get over the Achilles. Look at Dan Marino. Look at Isaiah Thomas. He never came back to play after hurting his Achilles. So, not buying that. Pittsburgh, he's got DK Metcalf. I'm sure he knows the offense, or he'll tweak it. So I'm not really worried about that. That's just a bad answer. All right, Atlanta under 8. Toronto, St. Louis. St. Louis 148.5. Eric Lauer 2-1 with a 208 against Matthew Liberatore, 3-5 with a 3.82. St. Louis is a big favorite for some reason, and 8.5. I'm going to go under here too. St. Louis under 8.5. I'm not going to bet it. Seattle, Arizona. Seattle 115.9. Oh, Ric Flair's going for Seattle today. 5-3 with the 307 against Eduardo Rodriguez. 1-3 with the 6-7. So I'm going to go Seattle here with Woo. And I'll take it for 2 units because it is Ric Flair Day. I wonder if he comes out in a robe and starts wooing the crowd. Oakland and California. California 140 and big over under of 10. JP Sears 5-5 with a 5.21. Kyle Hendricks 3-6. Yeah, I can see why it's a 10. Okay, we'll go over 10. Oakland over 10. It's a big number, so I'm not going to bet it, but you got 2 pitchers with 5 ERAs. What the hell are they doing in the league? Unbelievable. The Dodgers at San Diego. Dylan Cease killed them yesterday, 11-1. Everybody loves this Shohei Ohtani guy. I'm not buying it. I don't smell what he's cooking at all. Justin Roblisky, 1-2 with the 7.20 for the Dodgers. This is the Dodgers' problem. They bring on a guy with a 7.20 ERA. They're not winning anything. This reminds me of the Lions. Good offense, no defense. They can hit. There's no pitching. Against Randy Vasquez, 3-4 at the 3.69. I'm going to have to go over here. And I'll go 2 units on this. The pitching's just terrible in this game. Detroit at Baltimore, 6.35. Baltimore minus 125.9. Casey Mize, who is very inconsistent. I don't buy the 2.9. He's pitched terrible the last couple of games. Zach Eflin, 5-2 with the 4.47. Detroit should hit it. Casey Mize, I don't know. He'll give up some runs. It's very confusing because the Tigers, then you don't hit their bullpen. I've never seen – it's so stupid the way baseball is now. So the starter gets up 3-4 runs in 3-4 innings. And then you got to have a reliever every inning. So you go a reliever in the 5th, then the 6th, and the 7th, the 8th, and 9th. So for 1 inning, they're good enough to shut you out because they're not tired. And every once in a while, you get some pig, like the Bo Brisky guy who can't get anybody out, who should be in minor league ball. But basically, then you get some of these guys who have very good – they're good relievers. So you think you're going to get more runs when the relievers come in, and you don't. And you can't understand it. This guy's got a 5 ERA. It's 1 hit, no runs for 1 inning, and then the next guy for 1 inning. Oh, no, we can't pitch 2 innings. No. If we can, I might get hurt. I can't pitch more than 20, 25 pitches. I mean, it's really ridiculous. These are not pro athletes. Pitch should let Rodgers play in the preseason. This is a very tough division as well with Cincy and the Ravens. Well, I got Cincy winning the division and then Baltimore, although maybe Pitt now with Rodgers and Metcalf and Caleb Johnson from Iowa, they will have a good offense, and they have a killer defense. They know how to play Lamar. TJ Watt's faster than Lamar. He just yanks him down. Lamar will throw 2-3 interceptions in the game, but I don't get Baltimore. Again, if I have Lamar on my team, he's a slot receiver. He is not my quarterback. There is never an instance that Lamar's my quarterback because my quarterback cannot throw all these interceptions, and he has to win big games. My quarterback can't choke in the big games and be my quarterback, which is what Lamar does. So, good athlete, absolutely. Fast, nobody's questioning that. Quarterback, I question that. So, that's Baltimore's problem. Terrible coach, but I do like them. I do like them to. I think since he wins it, they're pissed off. They've got the running back they need, Tajay Brooks, with Chase and Higgins signed and Burrow signed, and they brought in some offensive linemen in the draft that you never know, and a little bit better defense. So it's it's up to the defense, but they're going to score a lot, especially on Baltimore. They lost like 36-35 last year. That's what I think the Baltimore Buffalo game will be week one. With the healthy Burrow, I'd have to think since he wins the division. Well, he was healthy last year. He had no running back, and their defense sucked. And that's not why they didn't lose to Washington because of him. They lost because they couldn't handle Daniels. They just don't have a good defense except for Hutchinson. And they did draft some, but we will see what they do. Because I can't believe Burrow hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. But again, he had a much better team at LSU. There were more pros on that team at LSU than he has at Cincinnati. He had Chase and Jefferson, Moss Jr., Chocolate Eclair, and a great defense. I mean, no wonder he put up 50 points a game. Chase is open. Oh, yeah, there's Jefferson. He's open. And he did like Chase better, but he did hit Jefferson. What a team. Chase and Jefferson on the team. Oh, my God. So San Diego, where are we? Detroit, Baltimore. So again, this Casey Mize is not what he looks like. He's not 6-1 with the 2.91. He's lucky to be 6-1. He's definitely lucky to have a 2.91. Eflin, the question is how good is Eflin? I'm going to go over here. I don't know. Detroit has not been hitting at all. I'm not going to bet this game. I don't like it. I don't buy that Mize. I think on the road, he's not half the pitcher he is at home. And Baltimore, pretty good. They stink. They're not hitting, which is my fear. Like yesterday was 5-3, and I'm afraid I'm going to get a score like that. Even though Mize stinks, the relievers come in and shut you down, and it's almost an under. Because as we know, Detroit gets 7 runs every game. So I don't really like it. Again, it's a lot of games that I don't like. The more I know, the more I don't like them. Washington at the Mets. The Mets 275, 8.5. They're not playing Colorado here. They're playing Washington. Jake Irvin 5-2 with the 4.02. David Peterson 4-2 with the 2.8. I don't understand this 275. I think it's very vulnerable. Peterson 4-2 with the 2.80, but Jake Irvin's 5-2 with the 4. I'm going to go over here too. I don't like it at all. Tampa Bay plays Atlanta. Now they're playing Boston. They play Atlanta week 1. Tampa Bay 105-10. Zach Littell 6-5 with the 3.68. Walker Buehler, who stinks, 4-4. We're going to go over 10. Even though I don't like this one, I think the number's too high, but they're in Fenway, and you got a 5.18 ERA for Boston. It's almost a Tampa Bay play. I don't know if I trust Zach Littell 6-5 with the 3.68. So there should be runs. It's baseball is becoming more and more unpredictable because of the read. You bet Mahomes because you know he's going to win. I'm trying to find the winners here. Max Fried, Dylan Cease yesterday was a winner. Scooble, I'll give you. Chris Sale's starting to pitch much better. So there's a handful of pitchers, DeGrom's pitching well, that you can bet on. And the rest, flip a coin what they're going to do. So Texas, Minnesota. Texas beat them 16-4 yesterday. Where did that come from? Minnesota 155, 8.5. Jack Leiter 4-2 with the 3.48. David Fiesta. Oh, and I'm going to go over again. I'm going to play the streak that Texas is hitting over 8.5, and I'll play this for 2 units. The Yankees go to Kansas City. George Brett will be there with his pine tar. The Yankees 125-9. Clark Smith 2-3 with the 404 against Chris Bubik 5-3 with the 143. This should be. I'm going to take KC here with Bubik. Again, I don't know. You got Aaron Judge and you got Goldsmith, and they're scoring like 2 runs a game. It's insane. DJ LeMahieu took his average from 220 to 275 now. So we add a hitter and we subtract a bad hitter with LeMahieu. I don't know why he was hitting so poorly, but whatever it is, he found it. And so the Yanks are scoring more. We'll see. The White Sox at Houston 178.5. Sean Burke 3-6 with the 403. Ryan Gusto 3-3 with the 478. I'm going to go over here. The White Sox are playing better. Over 8.5. I'm not going to touch the bet, but I think the White Sox might even win it, but I think they're playing better. And the 49ers go to Colorado. 49ers 210. Robbie Ray 8-1 with the 244 against Kyle Freeman. 1-8 with the 519. We're taking the 49ers, and this will be 3 units. And that'd be it. And we'll review. We got the NBA tonight. So we're playing Pitt. So it's only 11, so we got time. Pitt, Philly over 8.5, 3 units. Cleveland under 8.5. Atlanta under 8. St. Louis under 8.5. Seattle, 2 units. Oakland over 10. San Diego over 9.5, 2 units. Detroit over 9. The Mets over 8.5. Boston over 10. Texas over 8.5. Kansas City, the White Sox over 8.5. And the 49ers for 3 units. So the bets are Philly over 8.5. Seattle, San Diego over 9.5, Texas over 8.5, and the 49ers. Philly and the 49ers are 3 units. And that's baseball. And baseball, again, it was very difficult because the managers are idiots and it's all analytics. The guy will be going with the no-hitter through 7, but he's going to face the team a 3rd time. Oh, my God, I got to pull him out of the game. Instead of going with hunches and seeing the way the pitcher's pitching and they can't hit him, what does he do? He goes away. I mean, you're like, well, I got to bring in the reliever. Well, the guy's got a no-hitter going. The reliever can't be any better. Is he really getting tired after 80, 85, 90 pitches? Are you out of your mind? So you think that he can't even go 100 pitches now. This is insanity. These guys can go 200 pitches and it wouldn't bother them, most of them. But you're babying them at 90 pitches, 95 pitches. Oh, we don't want them to get arm trouble. Oh, yeah. And 3/4 of the pitchers in the league have arm trouble. So that isn't a correlation of this 5th day 100 pitch thing is bullshit because the pitchers are still getting hurt. I would go back to 4 days. and I'd go to 200 pitches. You're getting me into the, if you're a good pitcher, you're pitching it. Max Fried, you're pitching 8, maybe 9 innings. And then I'll go to Raleigh Fingers in the ninth, or Goose Gossage, or somebody, or their guy, Rivera. I mean, that was the beauty of Rivera. You'd just get to the ninth inning, and then you'd bring in Rivera, and it'd be 1, 2, 3. That's why you do it the way that is. This is absolutely ridiculous. This isn't, it's like watching basketball. Basketball is terrible, and baseball is terrible. This whole analytics thing, these managers are so stupid. It's really hard to watch because it doesn't make any sense. You're using math, not the skill of the manager. The manager has no skill. The manager is a monkey. Let's see what the charts. Oh, I got a pinch hit because he's right-handed and the left-handed pitcher came in. Or, oh, it's the third time through the lineup. I gotta take him out. Or, oh wait, yeah, I know he got 3 strikeouts, the reliever in the 7th inning, but I got to take him out. I can't let him pitch the 8th inning. It's insanity. It's all bullshit. Actually, that's what socialism is. It's planning. So this is all planning. This is all planned by the central government planning. Oh, it's so many pitches. It's so many days. It's this. Oh, he's a lefty. He's a righty. That's all central planning. Basketball, it's a 3-point shot. It's worth more than the 2. Really? You got to be kidding me. And then these all-stars or these MVPs in basketball are a joke. None of them are any good. I mean, these guys, these big 7-footers taking 3-point shots. That's embarrassing. They should quit the sport. I mean, if this is a sport, you can't watch it. That's bullshit. I do like the new pitch clock in baseball to keep the game moving. I don't like anything like that. I don't like it at all. Why do I need a pitch count? Why do I need to keep the game going? Are you, if you're watching it, are you falling asleep? I mean, if you watch a good movie, Lord of the Rings, I watched the extended version. That's how good it was. I wasn't like, oh, it's too long. It was, no, this is good. I'll take more of it. So if baseball's not good, why are you watching it? But I don't believe in pitch clocks or the batter's clock. And that's all bullshit. Pitchers should be able to relax. And if he's losing concentration, get his concentration. The same thing with the batter. It's all concentration. If you need 10 seconds to get your gun to take 10 seconds. I don't think it speeds the game up at all. I think it hurts the game. Because you're forcing these guys to go faster than they might want to. Okay, tonight, finally, the series is tied at 1. Indiana pulled up the upset. Game 1, Oklahoma City off the loss. Didn't want to go down 2-0, gets the win. OKC minus 5.5, 227.5. I noticed how it's been coming. It was 230, 228, 227.5. Now this game's at Indiana off of the loss. So Indy's now off the loss. OKC minus 5.5. I like Indy in this game, honestly. Getting the 5.5, I think Indy wins. I don't buy OKC. I don't buy any of these teams. They're just 3-point shooting teams. If they get cold, they're going to lose. There's no magic to Kareem, to James Worthy in this game. It's the MVP shooting from half court. Well, if he's not hot, he'll miss a lot. Oh, by the way, he can't get the rebound. He's at half court. It's the stupidest league I've ever seen. These coaches are horrible. They're not even coaches. I mean, it's terrible. So Indy at home will be more comfortable. The role players will play better. They're mad off of the loss, and I look for them to win the game. So take Indy plus the 5.5. Let's look at the NFL. long as we're talking sports. And I'm going to do a wrestling. I was watching Vince McMahon on Netflix, and it dawned on me, I'm going to do a wrestling. Oh my God! Enough with Prime Junior. Oh my God. So I'm going to show you how wrestling is economics. It should be good. All right. Green Bay 1.5, 49.5 over Detroit hasn't changed. I'm just going to go through the line. Philly 7-46 in Philly. Week 1, they get their rings. I don't know why they give them at the stadium before the game. And then the team's kind of like, oh, we got our rings, so we're not going to play. I think it's an unfair thing. From Brazil, KC, LA on a Friday night, 9-5. KC 2.5, 44.5. Then we go to Sunday, Tampa 2.5, 48.5 over Atlanta. Now I like Atlanta more, getting 2.5. The Bengals and the Browns, Cincinnati 5.5, 45.5 over Cleveland. Joe Burrow. Miami and Indy. Indy somehow is favored 1.5, 45.5. They both stink. Richardson's hurt, so I'm not sure if he'll be playing right now. He's got a bad shoulder, and Tagliabue is always hurt. Oakland goes to New England. New England 2.5, 42.5. I like Oakland as a live dog there, and the under. And I think Coach Pete's going to run Gentry. He's going to throw to Brock Bowers. He's going to play defense. That's what Coach Pete does. He'll get Richard Sherman out of retirement, I'm sure. But look for Oakland to become a running defensive team, because he can control that. He can win with that. It's like, keep the game close in the fourth quarter and we'll win it. And that's how Coach Pete plays to win. That's the difference. So I look for Oakland to do better this year. Arizona, New Orleans. Arizona 642.5. We got to see if Jake Hayner's the quarterback for New Orleans. Pitt and the Jets. Pitt staying at 39.5 is a joke. I mean, you got to love Pitt with Aaron Rodgers now. You take it from -3 to +3 against the JETSs with Fields. I'm sorry, did Fields learn how to quarterback? Because I'm not aware that Fields is a quarterback. He's Hines Ward, basically. He can't be a quarterback. He's a terrible quarterback. This is what the Jets are going with. They're out of their minds. So Pittsburgh easy in this game. The Giants in Washington 745.5 to the Giants. Now we do have Russell Wilson on the Giants. We have Scatterboo on the Giants. We have Neighbors. We got a little bit better defense. Not great. Just because you play linebacker at Penn State does not make you Micah Parsons. Okay, there's one Micah Parsons. We're having to play linebacker at Penn State. Doesn't mean every linebacker out of Penn State is Micah Parsons. I think this game should be pretty high scoring. Now that I got Russell Wilson and Scatterboo and they got a receiver, they should be able to score on this terrible Washington defense, but they're not going to be able to handle Daniels. Jacksonville 2.5, 46.5 in the toilet bowl against Carolina. Both teams stink. Both quarterbacks stink. Both coaches are terrible. Jacksonville hires a new coach. Like, yeah, this guy's as bad as the other one. I mean, why'd you fire the other one? At least was if they couldn't win with him, they're not going to win with this guy. Carolina is probably the worst team in the league, although Tennessee and Indy and Jacksonville are going to fight over it, and the JETSs. This has got to be an under 46.5. Where are they going to get 46.5 from? They don't have quarterbacks. Tennessee, Denver 7.5, 41.5. Denver should kill them. Bo Nix, and then they added a running back. They added a receiver. They got the defense. They got Sean Payton. Cam Ward is not very good. You look at him in Miami running kind of a spread offense, and you think he's good. Yeah, they're not playing North Carolina and North Carolina State here. They're playing Denver. I mean, yeah, good luck with Cam Ward. Terrible mistake that was. The Niners, Seattle Niners, 1.5, 45.5 at Seattle. Love the Niners. Houston and the Rams. The Rams 2.5, 46.5, which should be a very good defensive game. CJ Stroud is not it. Stafford, I like. Devontae Adams, Puka, they should be able to score. I think if anybody does, LA kind of double scores on them, get a couple of touchdowns, but Houston, maybe they get one, but this should be a Ram game, probably an under game, but we'll see because Houston's got a tough defense. We go to Baltimore, Buffalo. We got Buffalo 1.5, 51.5. It's an easy over. Both teams, great offenses, no defenses. Neither team has a coach. In our last game, the Bears are actually favored 1.5, 45 and 44.5. What does that tell you about JJ McCartney? That he goes to Caleb and Caleb's favorite. How bad is McCartney? Best player on the field, obviously Jefferson, Minnesota. Both teams have excellent defenses. Neither team's got a quarterback. Big mistake with McCartney. I mean, I would have kept Darnold. He's better than McCartney, and he's choker, but McCartney doesn't do anything. They won the title game because they ran for 4 40-yard touchdowns against Washington, not because McCarthy did anything. In his big game against Georgia, he didn't show up. So that be football. Now let's talk WWF. In Austrian economics. It's a fascinating it's a fascinating tutorial of it. So if you're watching Netflix and you watch Vince McMahon, it's a Vince McMahon thing, and the guy's crazy. Kind of reminds me of like a Napoleon or something like that. He's the dictator. He takes the women if he wants them. It's his way or the highway. But what does he do? How does he work? Well, here's where it's a comparison to Austrian economics. In Austrian economics, what do? I do what the market wants. Say's law. Supply creates the demand. I want a blue shirt. I'm going to make a blue shirt. You're doing what the crowd wants. That's Austrian economics. You want a glasses. You want a hat. You want a coffee mug. You want Canadian Club whiskey. I'll make it for you. That's how a free market works. Hopefully we'll get back to a free market. Well, what did Vince McMahon do? Whatever you wanted. So he went and has Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, and then he's, so that's there for 10 years. And then he starts failing. But then what does he do? He does this to Generation X, but the crowd likes it. So he tries things, and if the crowd, like Hulk Hogan comes out and he does this bullshit, but the crowd's cheering, so he does it because the crowd likes it. If the crowd doesn't like it, he doesn't do it. Then the Macho Man comes, and Andre the Giant, and he sells out the Silverdome. But then it gets old, and everybody goes to the WCW, and he's got nothing. And then he stumbles into Degeneration X, and people are like wanting it because they don't like to follow rules. Because really, you're really a slave at work. Work's really terrible. They think that they can control you at work, which is terrible. It should be professional. Howard, I need you to do this. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate your work. I appreciate you're here. Here's money. Here's your salary. And it's a two-way street. Well, thank you. I appreciate getting paid. Here's my skill set. Okay, you hired me to do spreadsheets and budgets. Okay, show me what you want. I'll do it. But it should be very professional, not like Toyota, where the Jap sat there and said, oh, keep your hands out of your pocket and you got to do this and that. And, they yell at you because of a budget thing that you've already went through and you've already asked the question on, but they don't treat you with respect. They're very disrespectful. And yet, so why do they do that? They're wrong. But back to wrestling. So McMahon does, and if the crowd cheers, he keeps doing it. And when they don't cheer, he tries something else. So he does Degeneration X, which was a ripoff of the NWO on the other one, but it worked there. So all he did was copy. Oh, that worked. He's testing the market. He sees what's good in the market, and that's what he's doing. So if everybody likes chocolate milk, I'll make chocolate milk because the market likes it. That's what I always say about the market. You have Canadian Club. What are the other whiskeys selling for? What's Dewar's and Black Label and Maker's Mark? What are they selling for? And that's I know what the price is. And I see there's demand. So I'll make whiskey because I see these other whiskey companies. So he's doing that. He sees what the other wrestling shows were doing and copied. And then he did, stumbled in where, okay, all of a sudden Stone Cold starts really unplanned, starts to be an asshole and everybody likes it. And then The Rock smells what everybody's cooking. He must be a chef. And then everybody likes it because they like the talk back. They like to not follow the rules because when you're at work, you got to follow the rules. And they like that independence and freedom, which is what America is. And so all he does is send him out there. And at first, The Rock didn't talk. Then he started getting upset because they called him a loser. And he said, I'm not a loser. And he started getting angry. And then everybody liked it. So he developed and he listened. And if the crowd yelled and cheered, that's what he went to. That's the free market part of it. He does something. If the crowd likes it, then he goes with it. He gets them emotionally charged. But that's what I'm going to sell Canadian Club whiskey. People get emotionally charged. Oh, good. I'm going to go buy some. They sell avocados. Great. I need avocados. They're healthy. So they backstory it. Oh, Mercedes. Yeah, I want to get that. I need a t-shirt. I need gold. I need glasses. And so you get charged into buying them because emotionally you need that. You go to the grocery store, you buy emotionally cupcakes and ice cream and pop and alcohol, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of veggies. I don't want to buy veggies. They're not emotional, but they're healthy. And that's the problem with health foods. They're not emotional. I'm having cauliflower. It's just, that's what it is. So all he did was try things. And if the crowd liked it, he would go with it. And that's what he did. And then he did Mr. McMahon. By then, I wasn't watching it. I thought it was very boring and stupid. Mr. McMahon, this evil boss, and then people are hitting the boss because people at work want to hit their boss. That was a little bit weird, but it did play. Then he gets his whole family involved, and I thought that was just stupid because I don't want to see them. I don't mind seeing Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair wooing around and things like that, but I really don't want to see McMahon and the kids. I thought it was stupid. Then he starts bringing sex in and having these hot models come in and having sex with them or having them in their bras and panties. That's not wrestling. So you lost me there. But he did what sells. Sex sells. And the family I didn't get. They had a WrestleMania, I guess it was McMahon against Shane McMahon. Like, yeah, I probably wouldn't be watching that. it probably doesn't hold any value. I mean, that's like dumbing down football, where it's not Mahomes, it's Andy Reid and his family playing. Anyway, so that's what he did. He's if he wasn't sure what the market wanted, he would test it and see if the market reacted. And if the market screamed and yelled and got into it, like at a football game, then that's what it is. And that's sort of what a football game is. You go to a football game and the crowds, you hear the Lion game now, and the crowd's all yelling because they think they might actually have a good team. Well, we know they don't, but the crowd's an emotional bunch. You go to a concert, the crowd's yelling. You go to a football game and the crowd's emotional. And really, that's the whole scam of everything, is they're feeding off your emotions. Politicians kind of do that. But, Trump, I'll stop the war in a day. Oh, that's great. Yeah, emotionally end the war. But he lies. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it in 4 months. Probably won't do it. I don't know. I guess Russia will have to do a like they did against the Nazis and just drive all the way to Berlin. Only in this case, it would be Kiev. He's not going past Ukraine, but he would take Kiev. And I don't know why he doesn't just assassinate Zelensky and end the war. I don't get that. Anyway, that's what the Romans did when they were collapsing. They'd have the gladiator games, and it was emotional. People liked it, but it was deflecting the fact that they were having massive inflation and the money was worthless, and they went broke. But here's gladiators, and that's kind of what we do here. We're broke, but nobody wants to talk about it because nobody wants to admit it. But anyway, so Vince McMahon would just then, here comes some new guys, and the crowd likes them. You wonder who's going to these things that they get so emotional about a guy wrestling fake in a fake wrestling match. It's real in the fact they hit each other. They're drop kicking, but they're not really touching. It's funny. On one hand, they'll say it's real. On the other hand, they say, well, we know how to hit so nobody gets hurt. On the same thing, right? It was somebody, we are talking about concussions. He says, but we know how to hit. So really, I don't buy the concussions because nobody really gets hit in the head. And, we cut ourselves, and they do those power drops. I can't remember what they're called. You put the guy between your legs and you hit. The Undertaker did that a lot. But they weren't hitting. The guy was just landing on his knees, and the guy was above his knees, wasn't even hitting the thing, or when they stomp, when they hit. So wrestling is totally fake, but they know how to hit each other. So they said this one guy got concussions, and Stone Cold says, well, the only way he could get a concussion is he didn't know what he was doing. I never got a concussion. They very rarely get concussions because they don't get hit on the head. They know how to hit. Ric Flair said he would hang a string on a doorway and he could throw a punch. It wouldn't hit the string. So he knew how to make it look like it was a punch. Well, that's all it is. It's all magic. It's all illusion. They're not doing much. They're hitting themselves more or less. The Hulkster hurt his back with the leg drop. Didn't hurt the guy. He hurt his back. Or a lot of these moves it's the guy, Bret Hart. He would do that Russian leg sweep where he'd pull back. He said it hurt me more than it hurt the guy. So it's a lot of, unlike football, which is real, it's not real. And but basically that's what they're selling. And as long as the people keep paying and get emotionally attached, that is the problem, right? The emotional attached, then I'm going to do it. I'll keep showing you that. So there's a player you like in football or something that you like, and you keep coming back for that energy and that emotion. We'll keep selling it to you. So that's all he's doing is selling what the crowd gets excited about. That's all he's doing. And you just don't know where it's coming from. Then he brought in the women and they had the whole diva thing. And now he's back to The Rock's cousin, whatever his name is. This Brock Lesnar. Well, I never liked him. I never got charged from him because he'd hurt people. It looked real enough where you'd put him in that arm bar and he's breaking arms or, I said, no, that's not emotion to me. That's kind of, now you're getting into, uh, danger and injury. And I don't want to see that. In a football game, I want to see the hit, but I don't want to see anybody get injured. So that's the problem with Brock Lesnar. I never liked him. The Undertaker, you could kind of get into, and you liked his character, so it kept coming back. But it was basically, if the crowd cheered, that's what he did, and that's basically Austrian economics at the highest level. I'm going to make a cherry pie if anybody likes it. If they like it and they keep buying it, I'll keep making it. If they don't, I won't make it. And ice cream, and the triggers, the sweets are what people get emotionally charged for. I want this ice cream and these cupcakes and Oreo cookies, and all that is an emotional thing. People get emotional. The problem is it kills everybody because the sugar is bad. But this is it. So for me, it's hard because my emotional is mine broccoli and cauliflower, which isn't exciting except for I brainwash myself into going, but it'll keep me healthy. And that's really what my key is in the grocery store is it's the healthy stuff. Um, but that's what basically economics is. And what we don't like is Keynesian or socialism because they're telling us what to like. We don't want to be told to like The Rock or to like Stone Cold or to like Shane McMahon or Stephanie McMahon. We don't want to be told that. We want to choose it on our own. That's the difference between socialism and Austrian economics. Using wrestling, I love it. So you want to choose what you want. You want to choose cupcakes and Oreo cookies, chocolate ice cream. That's what you want to choose. Let's go have a nice steak and shrimp and lobster. We want to choose that. That's free market, that's freedom, and that's what we want. We don't want to be told, well, you can't have this, you can't have that. This is bad for you. That's bad. We don't want to hear that. We want to choose. We do want to get advice. Hey, that Oreos are bad for you because of the sugar, and then we can choose if we want them or not. Well, I'll have a little, but we want to make the choice, and that's capitalism at its finest. Austrian economics. We make the choice. That's what it's all about. That's what freedom is. I'm free to choose. Do I want a Coke? Do I want a Pepsi? Do I want 7-Up? Do I want chocolate cake? Do I want mousse? Do I want eggs? Do I want salad? Do I want steak? Do I want Chinese food? It's all freedom. And then what turns out is that this is the key part of freedom. With this, I can do that. I can choose. I want to go to Hawaii. Do I have money? I want to go to Austria. Do I have money? If I don't have money, I can't have freedom. And so when the government fucks everybody over by printing the money to death, then why do we root for the government? We don't want that government in because they're hurting us. They are making our money worthless. And if we're not smart and buy gold and silver, we don't have freedom. We can't go buy the chocolate cake. We're fucked. Or the government hands us some money for food or something. That's where we get to gold and silver. It's the freedom part of it. Gold and silver allows us to be free to choose because that's what we want. We do not want to be told what to do. Believe me, in China, I don't know about Russia, but in China, they're miserable because the government tells them what to do. Europe, mostly, it's a little socialist, but I think on the overall, most people are free. They'll go buy the wine. I think that's what it is when I'm with Jenna and she's free and she can have a drink and a wine and have a nice meal. I give her the freedom because I have the money. So that's kind of what they like you about. So do they really like you? So it gets to the Daria. Well, if you don't meet me, you're gonna get fucked because I'm not gonna stay around until we meet. Now you can use the excuse of the war. That only lasts so long. Um, but I give her freedom. She sent me a text. She said, I got to pay for rent and food, and I'm alone. I can't do it without you. So, do you love me? Do you love my money that you can pay rent and food? Do you like what I represent, being American and having money that I can give you freedom? But then you have to meet me. The prerequisite is we meet, and then we hang out, and then we decide what to do after the meeting. But to just send you money and not meet you doesn't work. And so she's going to learn that lesson soon if she doesn't meet me. And I'm waiting for July for that. But I am freedom for her, right? She can't afford it. She needs money. And so I think that's how we get screwed in a lot of relationships. We're thinking, and then the girl is just using us as freedom. And then if we do something wrong, they'll find another guy who they can present and get freedom off. Oh, well, he's got money. You're interchangeable. I'll find another guy with money. And that's really the point of that. And it all comes back to freedom to choose what you want. And it requires money. And that's what it is. But then to protect your money, you buy gold and silver, which is what I've been teaching for 5 years now. As soon as I know the dollar is worthless, thanks to Biden and Obama and Trump, thanks to all of these idiots who are making these. Look at the budget they just passed, or they're passing, is for something that they're going to be $2 or $3 trillion short. Where are they going to? Oh, we'll print it. Well, you can't. It hurts the value of it. So these people are just they're just deceitful. They're just hurtful. Well, I have money, so I have freedom, and you don't. But your money is worthless. And this is what I keep saying. The money you have is worthless, so there goes your freedom. But if we have gold and silver, we keep our freedom because they can't print away gold and silver. They can take the gold and silver out of the coins, but we're not going to buy those. We're only going to buy the ones that have 100% gold and silver in it, or 999. So we know the gold coin we buy is pretty much a full ounce of gold. So we're fine with it. We know that's fine. We know they can't fuck with us. We will keep our freedom. We'll be able to do what we want. And we use gold and silver as the money because this isn't worth anything. And that's really the biggest point of the class, is how people don't understand that basic principle. They think that the dollar is not going anywhere, that it's always going to have a value. And then the MMT guys like Jim Rickards comes out and says, oh, you can print all you want. You can just keep printing because we're the reserve currency and nothing will happen. And that's when I laugh at a guy like that. No, you can print, but it'll be worthless. Believe me, when Greece went out, they printed, it was worthless. In Germany in the 1920s, they printed trillions or billions of dollars of Reichsmarks every day, and it made it worth zero. They wallpapered their wall with it. It wasn't worth anything. The more you print, the less it's worth. So you run a budget deficit. You run a budget which is 2 trillion under. Well, how are you going to make up the 2 trillion? We'll print. Well, that makes the value worth even less. Then you have the countries not wanting it. BRICS is about, I know the dollar is worthless. I know, so I don't want to be attached to the dollar. I'm going to gold because I know you can't fuck with gold. You can't print it to zero. You can't copy it, counterfeit it. It's either gold or it isn't gold. You can't use copper to make gold. This is being printed and printed and printed until it has no value, and that's where we're at now. So so that's a lot of it. Is your freedom goes. These CBDCs, everybody's afraid of what? Control. Well, they're going to control me. If I said something about somebody, they're going to not let me have my money. Well, that's control. That's not freedom. That's communism. We don't want communism. We enjoy our freedom in America. We've always had it. We're losing it because the dollar's worth less. And when you go to the grocery store, it's, $5 for a can of tuna. That should be, $2. So as the dollar loses value to buy the goods at the grocery store, which we need to live on, is more and more expensive. So that you're taking our freedom away because we don't have more money. We're spending more money, so we have less money. So I can't do anything when I need to eat. I'm in trouble because you're costing me more. So I can't buy other goods. And so you're basically ruining the economy. And then people don't want the dollar because they see it as not worth anything. And as soon as the confidence in the dollar goes, the dollar goes. Printing all the money and printing and printing and printing makes everybody lose confidence in the dollar and not want the dollar. And that's what's happening. So you're printed, and the Chinese are going, well, I don't want that. And the Russians and all the BRICS, and now there's 44 countries in BRICS going, we don't want the dollar. And we're coming out with gold, and we all are buying gold, and we're going to trade with gold. Confidence, freedom versus the U.S. And then what does Trump do? We'll tariff everybody. If you go BRICS, we're going to tariff you. It's like, we're not even going to do business with you. We're going to trade with BRICS. China will make everything, and all the other countries will buy it. Russia will provide the oil, as will Saudi Arabia. China has no oil, so they're a buyer. And all these other countries, Egypt and Indonesia, some pretty big countries, India, are in it. So with that being said, Trump's tariff is trying to control people. That's not free market. That's not freedom. That's control. Nobody wants to be controlled. None of these countries want to be controlled. I guarantee you that. And I see it like with Daria, where it's I need money to eat. I need money to pay my rent. Well, I can't really turn my back on her. But I am like, well, then why aren't we meeting? I'll pay for the vacation. What the fuck's going on? And it just doesn't play well, but I don't know the whole story. And I'm not sure what kind of freedom she has. So this is what worries me. But money's freedom. You want free. You want free to choose. I want The Rock or I want Stone Cold. So it's all freedom. I want to buy a blue shirt or a green shirt. I want to buy Canadian Club or Doers. But we like the choice. We like the freedom to choose. Now we know we can't buy a Ferrari. It's too expensive. Maybe we'll buy a Camry or a Honda or something, or an Audi, a BMW, something like that, where we feel we want to buy that. We don't want to buy Teslas. They're too expensive. And we want to be free to buy gas-powered cars. We do not want an electric car. We do not want to have to pull into the charging station every day to fill our battery as the battery wears down, and to getting new batteries way too expensive. We see it in our phones. We see it on our laptops. We certainly don't want to buy. Battery cars, because the battery will wear out. We'll charge it every day. We don't want to waste our time charging. I enjoy going to the gas station on Sunday, and 2 weeks later, I fill up again. So when I'm driving, I see I'm full. I don't have to pull over and charge my battery, which will go up in price, and the time will go up. So we don't want that. We're not interested in that. Now, Vince McMahon would not push electric cars because the crowd doesn't like it. But yet the government pushes it, and they come up with this story of, well, we're running out of gas. Bullshit. We're not running out of gas. We need the gas and the oil to run our homes and our fridges and our lights, our computers, and charge everything. And the whole world revolves around oil and gas. There's not enough electricity to charge these and do everything battery-wise. Bitcoin takes a lot of electricity, as does AI. So you only have a limited amount. You have an unlimited amount of oil and gas, however. So again, it's choice, it's freedom. And that's really what this whole class is about, what I'm about is the freedom. So when I tell you gold and silver, it's to keep your freedom, because that'll allow you to do your choices of what you want. So thank you, Vince McMahon, for kind of being a very good example of what Austrian economics really is. It's about the market wanting something. I want to sell blue shirts. Does the market want it? And they all line up for it. I'm going to sell blue shirts, and I'm going to make a fortune selling blue shirts because I have market and demand for the blue shirt. And that's as simple as it is. So what you're looking for, like now, if I get a job, I don't want to be in the auto industry because the tariffs are killing it. There was a steel tariff I just saw looking at YouTube this morning. The tariff on steel is killing it, right? So you got to stay away from the car industry, even though people want cars because they want freedom. That's in America. In Europe, you don't need a car. Maybe in Germany, but you really don't. In Switzerland, you just get on a tram and you go downtown Geneva. Where was this? Yeah, downtown Zurich, and it's 5 minutes away. You're on tram, costs you $1. Go around shopping and eating and come back to the hotel. Or you want to go skiing, you take the tram to the train station and then train to the mountains. You don't need a car there. So that's what you're looking to do. The pile driver. Yeah, the pile driver. Anyway, but that's really what freedom is. And the money allows you freedom. And it's really so you're free to choose. And that's why you've got to pick the right partner. If you're, girlfriend or wife or boyfriend or husband, if you're a girl, you need to not lose your freedom with her. And that's what I think people do is they start dating and the girl is pretty and that's her little scam. She's pretty, so you want to date her and you think you're getting the benefits of her beauty, but then she's getting the benefits, you've got money, and it all comes back to that, right? So who has the freedom? And it's probably the woman has the freedom more than the man. The man's got the money, but the woman has the freedom and has the looks. And so it's a very confusing, complex world we live in. But it's always about freedom. You want to go to a ball game, you want to go to a movie, you have money, you can do it. And that's what we're all about. That's Austrian economics. And that's why a lot of countries who are Keynesian are all going broke, because they print their money to death and they basically take the freedom away from the people without even realizing it. They're all just idiots. Well, we'll just keep printing our money to nothing, and then the money's worthless. You aren't free anymore. You can't do this, that, and the other. And the governments, either they know it or they're just stupid. I don't know. I think most of the governments are stupid. I don't think they know. This Scott Simpson, the Treasury Secretary, doesn't know what he's doing. He's not even an economist. How do you hire a non-economist to run the U.S. Treasury? What are you, out of your fucking mind? Trump doesn't know what's going on. He wants to tariff everybody. He's like a 3-year-old. He reminds me of Vince McMahon, where he gets his way and that's it. They're very similar, I believe. So you got a freaking nut running the country. Oh, if you don't like me, I'm going to tariff you. Like, go ahead. I'm not using your dollar. Your dollar's worth, this is not worth anything. So you can tariff me all you want. I'm not going to use it. So go tariff. So that's basically the WWF is Austrian economics in a very clever way. Again, meeting the demand of the consumer. In this case, the consumer is the fan. In our case, the consumer is Canadian Club or avocados. We need something, you make it for us. And then we get more excited for the sugars and the liquor and the cigarettes and stuff like that. And then we find out they're bad for us, but we don't care. We want to enjoy our life, and that's it. But the key is you need money. And then, you meet a girl, is she after your money or not? Or does she just like you? And you get some that just like you, and then you get some that like you because you have money. And that's it. So you got to be careful. who you date and what their reasoning is, which you really don't know. They don't really expose it. Like why won't Daria meet me? There's obviously something she doesn't want me to see. So if I meet her, I'm going to see something, and then I might leave her, which would then take her freedom away because she won't be able to pay rent or food. That's my guess. But if she doesn't meet me, I'm going to just say later on. I won't wait. I'll only wait a little bit. And, my friends are going, well, she just wants your money. And I go, I understand. I'm not stupid, but I don't think so. From what she says, I think she wants more than just my money. And that's the whole secret. Do you want more, or do you want me, or do you just want my money? And that's what we don't know yet. And we think we know that she just wants the money, but we're not sure. So, Jenna didn't just want my money, but she did want money. I'm sure she dated me because I had money. But when we wanted to go on trips, we'd go on trips. And that's why I don't understand Daria's waiting. Well, the war. Well, yeah, but if we go to Turkey, you're not getting fired on in Turkey by the Ukrainians. All right, let's go. What are we at? 12 o'clock. All right. Let's check our gold again. Now it's 12 o'clock, so let's see. $33.33 and silver $36.25. It got up to $33.43, and I keep getting this Norton bullshit virus scan bullshit. So 33.33. So it got up to 33.57 and then dropped down to 33.31 and went up to 33.43 and then back down to 33.33. So I don't know what's going on. It'll probably just end the day going to China at 33 in the 33.30s. Now, on one hand, it's not falling back down to 31 or 30. I don't think you'll see 31 anymore. I doubt you'll see 32. It seems to be a lot of support. All the BRICS countries buying it, so I don't know that. Silver is holding at 36.26, so it's getting there. Now we need 37.38. So the longer it holds at 36.26, the better, but we need that to get to 50. All right. Trump panics. U.S. struggles to sell 22 billion in bonds. Yeah, nobody wants our bonds because it's worthless. I don't need to watch this to explain it. We already know that. Why would you buy a bond? You think it's safe. You think it's the safest investment. There's no risk. I got news for you. There's tons of risk because the dollar's not worth anything. We owe $37 trillion. So if I owe $37 trillion to the country, and I'm going, can you buy my bond? Can you give me a loan so I can buy some gold or silver? Why would you give me the loan? There's no way I'm going to be able to pay you back. An IOU is a loan. So an IOU is I'm going to buy your treasury bill and for 2 or 3 years. And then after that, I want my money back plus interest. Well, you're never going to get your money back. We owe 37 trillion. You're not getting it back. So why would anybody invest in T-bills knowing they're never going to get it back? They won't give you the money. They might give you a credit or something, just sort of like they do with COMEX. They don't actually give you the physical gold, which is what's changing July 1st. But that's the point, and that's the problem. You're not actually getting the money, and that's what you need. So that is the problem. Why would anybody buy the bills if you're not going to get back? Why is it the safest investment? It's extremely risky. This is where I bitch at Warren Buffett. He's got like 200 billion in treasuries. The guy will never get that back. What is he doing? The guy is an idiot. The guy's not a smart investor. That's my point. If he was, he'd be in gold now, because not only you have no risk in gold, but it's about to go through the roof. So not only no risk, but it's going to go up in value. So again, you got to get out of stocks because they're going to crash, because 15 trillion is going to leave, because it's going to go back to the countries so they can buy gold once they realize their dollars are worthless, and once they realize the US dollar is worthless. You cannot hide a $37 trillion debt, and you can't pay it. So you're fucked. You're bankrupt. So why would anybody give somebody who's bankrupt money? It doesn't make sense. And Trump's going to bitch all he wants about that. It doesn't make sense. So that's the way that is. Sowell reacts to Lindsey Graham. So Thomas Sowell, we like, conservative guy, reacts to Lindsey Graham's Ukraine money laundering. All right, this is okay. Again, Trump with the tariffs, we'll get into first. He wants to do the tariffs, and it's, again, nobody wants to be in the dollar, and then you're forcing my cost to go up. So if I'm tariffed on this, so if I'm Canada and I'm tariffed on this, so my cost is $20 and I get tariffed and now it's $30, can I sell it for $10 more, because I'm in business to make money? And so what Trump's doing is killing a lot of companies, because by raising their costs, they cannot just raise the prices. It's up to the market. Will the market get excited with higher prices? No, unless they're selling something. So if The Rock and Stone Cold were WrestleMania, yeah, they could probably charge $100 a ticket more. The Lions in football, Detroit, are playing well for the first time since 1957. They've raised their prices to $400. The people are excited. The demand is there. They raise the price and they still sell out. So if it's an emotional thing, people will pay for the higher ticket price, right? But if it's New Orleans, they can't raise their price. Nobody's excited about it. Nobody's going to go to it. So if you have the demand, you can take advantage of that demand and the excitement by making it more expensive, and people won't care. They're like, I've got to go to the game. So the Lions, like their playoff game was like $1,500 a ticket. These idiots went and they got killed, and you're just shaking your head going, I wouldn't pay $1,500 to go. I'd rather go buy a half ounce of gold instead of $1,500 for a football game that I can watch on TV. I don't need to be there. So that's where they get you. They can raise price, but to buy the whiskey, am I emotionally attached to having to buy this? So the costs go up $10. They raise the price $10. Will I pay the extra 10? No, probably not. I will probably go buy Maker's Mark or Black Label or another brand that's cheaper, because I just want the whiskey. I don't care if it's Canadian Club or not. I do. I'm pretty loyal to it. I like the way they treated me when I worked there. They treated me nice, as opposed to Tenneco was just, not even clue. And Toyota was clueless. If Toyota would have treated me the way Hiram Walker treated me, it would have been a different story. Hiram Walker respected you and were happy you were there. And they gave you work and you did the work. What do you want me to do? They'd give you the work. And with with Toyota, pulling your hand out of your pocket, like I say, I'm walking because it's cold out. I'm like, Are you out of your fucking mind or what? The war is over, fella. In 1944, the war ended. Japan lost. So are you going to hold that grudge still 100 years later? Oh, you're American. We got to kill you. I mean, this is about what I was dealing with there. And so that's the thing. So if you're excited about it, they can raise the price. But on most of these, chocolate, like my dark chocolate, they raised the price to $4.45. I'm not excited to pay more for my dark chocolate. So I go to Walmart where they have dark chocolate, Swiss, for $2.50. So it's $2 cheaper. So I go to Walmart. It's on the way to the gym, kind of. So I go there. And it's very simple. That's certain things you can raise the price, but certain things you can't. So if you want to tariff and raise the cost, you can't necessarily raise the price. And that's what people have to understand. So again, you can raise it for The Rock against Stone Cold, but you can't raise it for Humpty Dumpty against Doink the Clown. Not going to work. So anyway, that's kind of what it is. So let's watch this Thomas Sowell. I'm so excited that like wrestling is Austrian economics. All right, Lindsey Graham stealing money.
Stop using ChatGPT for prompts. Use it for systems to automate half of your life. Teenagers are building businesses with AI, while the only AI...
Let me say something about Senator Graham. There will be news coming out in the next couple of months about how he has profited financially off of money that came out of Ukraine, laundered through Latvia, and made its way into his bank account. And then we're talking significant amounts of money. Department of Justice is looking at it.
All right, those are serious allegations leveled by CIA officer, former CIA officer Larry.
This is why we have war, and why the war is continuing. These guys give money to it, and they're stealing money. So let's kill all these people, and let's have a war, Russia, Ukraine, and let's give Ukraine money so I can launder it and keep it. This is not the way the government's supposed to work. Where's the checks and balances? This guy should be in jail for inciting a war and then profiting off the war. This guy should be in jail and throw away the key. This is the problem, and you wonder why the war won't end, because morons like this want to profit from it, and they think it's okay that 1,500,000 Ukrainians are dead, and they like it because they have to build more Tomahawk missiles and more tanks and more planes and more equipment, and the defense contractors make money because we know who is paying this guy, obviously the defense contractors. So he gets money from the defense contractor. The whole lobbyist needs to go. You want to have a free market, and you want to have a free society, and then you let bribery and all this coercion in? Really? And you think the U.S. is free? We're not. We do what the lobbyist wants us to do. That's not what the guy's elected for. This is supposed to be freedom and the Constitution. Yet we're not doing any of that. It's the very, very corrupt. And this guy's making money off of it. This guy should be in jail, and his whole family, and the car dealership they own.
Johnson, we shall see.
The issue of government officials potentially benefiting from Ukraine war aid is not some isolated scandal. It's a symptom of deeper, predictable patterns rooted in human nature and the structure of incentives. I've written about these patterns for decades, from the vision of the anointed to wealth, poverty, and politics. And they keep resurfacing because people refuse to learn. This isn't just about Ukraine. It's about how power works when accountability is absent. First, let's talk about foreign aid and its fungibility. In my books, like Basic Economics and the Economics and Politics of Race, I pointed out that money is not a magic wand. It doesn't automatically do what you say it's for. Foreign aid, by its nature, is fungible, meaning it can be redirected, manipulated, or siphoned off, no matter how noble the stated purpose. When you send billions to a war-torn country, you're not just funding humanitarian relief or weapons for defense. You're pouring money into a complex system of bureaucracies, contractors, and local elites, all of whom have their own interests. In Ukraine's case, the aid is framed as a moral necessity, supporting democracy, resisting aggression. But once the money leaves our hands, it's like water poured into a sieve. Some of it reaches the intended recipients, sure, but a lot of it leaks out to those with the power to divert it.
So the question is why are we giving them money? If we want to help them, give them weapons. But they have to pay for it. They don't have the money to pay for it. This is the problem. They should buy it like they're buying cake and ice cream or milk or whatever. They should buy the goods. So we shouldn't be giving them money to purchase the goods. We shouldn't be giving them the goods for free. They need to buy it. But we create the war, so they have a need to buy them. The machines, machinery, equipment, the rifles, the bullets, and everything else. We give them money to do it instead of giving them the goods. So they should buy it, but we can't give it to them for free. But that's what we're doing. So we end up giving them all this money and nobody's auditing it. An audit is, what did you do with the money? Oh, Lindsey Graham, how did that money get into your bank account? You're stealing, go to jail. That's the point. That's the whole problem, right? How do we get Ukraine to buy the weapons for the defense contractors? Well, the only way we can really do that is to give them money so they can afford to buy it. No. They got to buy it. If they can't afford it, then they shouldn't be in the war. Yeah, but we need to stimulate our economy by selling Tomahawk missiles. Well, that's not how it works. You need Vince McMahon and you need free market to sell it. Anyway, this is why I get sick of all this shit, because I know how much bullshit it is.
This isn't new. Look at post-World War II aid to developing nations. Marshall Plan aside, much of the money sent to Africa, Latin America, or Southeast Asia ended up in the hands of corrupt regimes or their cronies. In the economics and politics of race, I cited examples like Nigeria in the 1970s, where oil wealth and foreign aid enriched a small elite while the masses stayed poor. The problem isn't the intention, it's the lack of accountability. Without ironclad oversight, aid becomes a slush fund for those closest to the spigot. Now, on the corruption of public office. In Knowledge and Decisions, I emphasize that power attracts those who want to use it for personal gain, not just those who want to serve. Public office is supposed to be about responsibility, but when the checks on power are weak, it becomes a vehicle for self-enrichment. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a predictable outcome of incentives. If you're an official overseeing billions in aid and there's no real lever, you're not just serving the public, you're serving yourself. I've written about this in Bureaucracy and Freedom, how bureaucracies grow self-perpetuating, prioritizing their own survival over their stated mission. When aid flows through government channels, those channels become pipelines for profit. Contracts go to connected firms, consultants get fat fees, and officials get kickbacks or favors. The bigger the aid package, the bigger the opportunities. Look at the history of government programs, whether it's urban renewal in the 1960s or foreign aid to Haiti after the 2010 earthquake. The pattern is the same. Lofty goals, vague oversight, and insiders walking away richer. It's not an aberration. It's what happens when you give people power without consequences. War incentives is critical. In a conflict of visions, I argue that people respond to what benefits them, not to what sounds noble. War is no exception. When billions are flowing and contracts are being signed, who benefits? Defense contractors, NGOs, consultants, and yes, government officials with ties to them. If peace breaks out, the money stops. If the war drags on, the contracts keep coming. I'm not saying anyone wants war for its own sake, but the incentives align with prolongation, not resolution. Look at Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. Wars stretch when those in charge aren't the ones paying the price. In Knowledge and Decisions, I noted that vague goals and unaccountable systems breed inefficiency. When success is measured by dollars spent rather than results achieved, you get more spending, not more success. Ukraine's conflict is complex, but the longer it goes, the more entrenched the beneficiaries become. Peace talks, they're not as lucrative. Now, the moral language. This is where the anointed, my term from the vision of the anointed, excel. They cloak self-interest in moral grandeur. Aid to Ukraine is sold as defending freedom, standing up to tyranny. Who can argue with that? But as I wrote in The Quest for Cosmic Justice, moral rhetoric is often a substitute for hard evidence. If you question the aid's effectiveness or who's profiting, you're labeled heartless or pro-enemy. This is what I call verbal virtuosity. Using emotionally charged language to shut down scrutiny. In Elections in Society, I point out how elites use moral posturing to insulate bad policies from criticism. If you demand audits or measurable outcomes, you're accused of missing the bigger picture. But the bigger picture is exactly what they don't want you to see. Who's getting rich while the war grinds on? This isn't an exception, it's a historical pattern. In Wealth, Poverty, and Politics, I documented how foreign aid to Africa often propped up corrupt regimes rather than helping the poor. In the 1960s, billions went to India's government, yet poverty persisted because the money fueled bureaucratic bloat and elite enrichment. Latin America's development loans in the 1970s and 1980s often funded lavish projects for the connected, not the needy. Ukraine's aid follows the same script: massive sums, vague oversight, and predictable leakage. The moral posturing, calling it a fight for democracy, masks the grift. Intentions don't matter when the outcome is elite skimming, while soldiers and civilians pay the real cost.
The cooling device that energy companies and AC manufacturers don't want you to know about is finally back in stock.
And civilians pay the real cost. This brings us to the broader issue, government without consequence. In basic economics, I stress that systems without feedback from reality, market prices, voter backlash, or personal liability, drift toward dysfunction. Bureaucracies don't fail when they fail, they grow. When aid money vanishes or enriches the wrong people, who gets fired? Nobody. In the vision of the anointed, I call this the triumph of intentions over results. Ukraine aid is just another case study. Costs are borne by taxpayers and soldiers, but the benefits, contracts, influence, power go to insiders. The war becomes a pretext for a system that rewards failure. At the root of it all is incentives. People do what pays off for them, as I've argued in Economic Facts and Fallacies in Dismantling America. If prolonging a war means more aid, more contracts, more power, that's what you'll get, no matter how noble the rhetoric. But let's dig deeper into why this persists. The opacity of centralized control in Knowledge and Decisions. I emphasize that in centralized systems obscure information, creating opportunities for exploitation. Aid programs rarely publish detailed real-time breakdowns of where funds go, and this lack of transparency is deliberate. It shields those skimming from scrutiny, the distortion of economic signals. In basic economics, I showed how large-scale interventions disrupt natural feedback mechanisms. Billions in aid can inflate local economies, enrich middlemen, or create dependency, distorting priorities and rewarding inefficiency over progress. The erosion of institutional trust. In Elections in Society, I warned that repeated misuse of public resources erodes confidence in governance. When aid is seen as a racket, citizens grow cynical, weakening the social contract that governments rely on. The capture by special interests in the quest for cosmic justice, I noted that policies often serve narrow groups disguised as the public good. Aid to Ukraine risks being captured by defense contractors and NGOs who lobby to keep the funds flowing, regardless of the war's trajectory. The international aid illusion. In the vision of the anointed, I criticize do something politics. The urge to act for the sake of appearing decisive, regardless of outcomes. International aid like that to Ukraine often becomes a gesture economy, where the goal is to look compassionate, not to achieve results. Billions are sent abroad with little to show because no one's job depends on success, only on optics. No business could survive wasting resources on ineffective projects. No government should either. There's historical examples like the ineffective aid to sub-Saharan Africa in the 1970s and 1980s, discussed in Wealth, Poverty, and Politics, show that this is a structural flaw when appearances trump accountability. Media as enabler, not watchdog. In electionist society, I argue that the media often amplifies elite narratives rather than.
I think we got the idea. So basically, they're just wasting our money, and they print money to give to them, which doesn't get to the people. It just goes to the bureaucrats and the government, and they split it up, and the defense contractors. So they print all this money saying it's for the war when it has nothing to do with the war. That's why Zelensky won't surrender, because it makes no sense to surrender. He doesn't care about the Ukrainian people. He cares about the money. So why would he stop taking the money? So he keeps the war going. Zelensky or Putin, on the other hand, is it's his own money. He's not getting money from anybody. He's printing his own money to pay for the war. So Putin wants the war to end because it's costing him money. He's got to make new weapons and tanks, and he shoots all these drones and all the other. That's expensive for him. Zelensky, on the other hand, and these other idiots in Spain, in England and France and Germany want the war to keep going because they get all the money in and then they just divvy it up. They don't use it for the war. That's why it's just such a joke. It's really, there's no point of this war going on. There was never a point of, the only point of the war was that they would get the kickbacks. So they'd get the money in and then they just split it, which is when Biden is giving him money, he's getting his cut. So Trump obviously is getting his cut, so he wants to keep the war going. He has no incentive to end it, as none of them do. That's what happened in Vietnam. Hitler was different. Hitler, the incentive was to destroy Hitler. But in Vietnam and in Korea and in here, there's no incentive. It's just war to get money from the lobbyists, and they split it up. If they happen to kill people, oh, that's too bad. This is war. We got to stop the tyranny of Russia or Israel or whatever bullshit they're giving you. And that's why, how do you trust the government? So when people call me a conspiracy theorist, well, how can you believe anything these assholes are telling us? Because none of it's true. It's all about them and the lobbyists stealing the money and keeping it. And I'm supposed to support that? Go fuck yourselves. That's ridiculous. And Sol he's a conservative. So this is what we're running into. These wars are all phony, but it bankrupts the country, right? It costs a lot of money, and the money becomes worthless and worthless and worthless. So this is why we must buy gold and silver. But then the JP Morgan shorts the COMEX to keep the price of gold down, so nobody knows how much dollars they're really fucking us with. And the $37 trillion debt, does anybody even understand what it is, or the cause and the effect, and what the outcome is going to be of this $37 trillion debt? We're going to go broke. Does anybody not care about this? No, people are probably too stupid to even understand it and realize, well, we're the U.S., we can't go broke. My friend in Florida he's a CPA, works for the DOD, and is clueless. Among all the people who should know is somebody that works with budgets and realizing if you're running your company and you're at $37 trillion in debt, how long would the company last? About 30 seconds? So if you're going to buy the U.S. and you got a $37 trillion debt, are you going to buy the U.S.? Absolutely not. And that's what BRICS is doing. They're going, fuck the US. They got to print dollars to get out of it. The dollars, the more you print, they're not worth anything. So we don't want to deal in that. So Trump can sanction all he wants. All it's going to do is kill our business and kill our economy and kill our country, because we won't have the money. We won't have, our economy won't work, because all our business, the economy is based on all the businesses, the ice cream, the pizza, the hamburgers, clothes, and everything. All they put a piece into the economy, right? They all make money, pay tax, make money, pay tax. And the more the economy is, the more money in tax you have. And that's a healthy economy. GDP is absolutely meaningless. I hate when they do that. And the debt to GDP ratio, what is that? If you owe 37 trillion, you're not paying it back. And most countries, I think China owes 50 trillion. All these countries owe, and they'll never be able to pay back. So who gives a shit what their debt to GDP is? GDP is a meaningless number. So all these countries are in the same boat. They can't get out of their debt, and wars are very expensive. And, you know, if you have a chance, you be in BRICS, because they have gold. They have the gold-backed currency, and you can't fuck with gold. That's what the whole theory is of what we do here, is you cannot fuck with gold, but as they keep printing dollars that are worthless. So that's the real problem. You can't just keep printing the dollars. The dollars have no value now. They have less. You go to the grocery store and you can see that, now, and it's surprising, but if you go back to 1970s and you see what a can of tuna fish was at the grocery store, it was probably 39 cents. Now it's $5. And you have to understand that that's the dollar losing value. And now it takes more dollars to buy the can of tuna. Or gold, $35 an ounce. Now it takes you $33.33 to buy the same ounce of gold. So that's where alligator thinks, well, it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. And that's where I argue with him. It is both. It is gold going up because of the demand from all the BRICS countries, and it is the dollar going down, but then you can't rationalize it because silver hasn't gone up like gold has. So you can't say, well, wait, but silver should be $1,500 an ounce too if gold went from 35 to 33.33. So that's where he's missing it. It is based on demand, but he can say the same thing about tuna. Well, it's not tuna going up, it's the dollar going down. Or it's not Coca-Cola going up, it's the dollar going down. He can say that to anything. That's what he should be saying, not saying it's not gold going up when gold is going up. So this is the problem. These idiots are printing the money and stealing it. Lindsey Graham and all these others, Biden and Pelosi, and 99% of all those people in government are just thieves, and they're put in by lobbyists to do what the lobbyists want. It's insulting to us, the corruption going on. How would you trust the government? You got to be out of your mind. There's no way you can trust thieves. That's my big thing with the Detroit Tiger manager. He's a liar he's a cheat and a liar, and I can't trust people like that. He cheated so they stole all the calls, like he didn't know about it. Then he lied about cheating. So there's no moral there. I can't get behind a guy like that. Total cheat. And everybody's acting like he's good. He's not a good manager. He doesn't know what he's doing, but none of them are. But again, this is the problem with government, and it's all over the world. They just steal the money from all the people who they're supposed to be representing. And at the end of the day, they're all going broke because it's all monopoly money. And the moral of the story, at the end of the day, the only thing that holds up is gold and silver. And you can have your baseball cards and you can have your Rolex watches. Real assets will hold value, but the stocks won't, and the Bitcoin won't, and the bonds are bankrupt. I saw a JP Morgan guy say, "Oh, the bond market's collapsing." Duh, really? I told you that like 5 years ago. Of course, because nobody wants them because they don't have a value. They'll never be. You have a $37 trillion debt. Why would I want a bond? You'll never pay me back. So of course the market's crashed. Duh. We need this idiot to tell us. But like it's something new. Oh yeah. Oh you. And then you can say, "See, I told you the bond market was going to crash." This is what we're dealing with. The problem is the money's worthless. The solution is gold and silver because you can't print it. Why the Roman Empire went out was they took the gold and silver out of the coins. Now, if they still had the gold and silver, they would still have value. But even Rome got corrupt and they went out. Britain got corrupt and they went out. France got corrupt. Spain. It's funny. This Ray Dalio keeps saying the end of these empires. Well, it's not. It's they print the money and they inflate it and the corruption and they steal the money. It's not hard. They get rid of the gold. They go to war for some reason. They get rid of they lose the gold and silver, and then they get money, and it's all corrupt. It's not hard to figure out, Ray Dalio. Like he knows something special that we don't. Fucking idiot. But that's what happens in everywhere. You get the gold, you get the power, and then for some reason you want to expand it, and then you try to have this army, and you go to war, which is very expensive. The equipment and the arms and the men and the feeding them and so it becomes you go broke off of it and you sell your gold for military stuff and then you're done. And as soon as you get rid of the gold's what makes the empire. When you get rid of the gold, you're fucked every time. It has to, because all the politicians are corrupt by nature. It's very hard to have governments. The solution, I have no idea, is to not have government in the way it is. The only way to have a government is it's got to be one term. There's got to be audits where they can't be corrupt. They can't take the money. There's got to be a treasurer who has the money. And if he gives it to a governor or senator, he needs to verify it. And then they need to be audited. Anybody in government needs to be audited so we can see what they're spending their money on. And it's got to be every quarter. And you serve one term of 2 or 4 years, and that's it. You cannot be lifers, Joe Biden. And then you have a president. You actually have 2 presidents. I think you need competition in the government. So I think there actually needs to be 2 governments that are competing. So in the 1800s, there were banks, but the banks ran the money and they competed. And so they couldn't inflate. We never had inflation in the 1800s. Well, we would have all these banks, and the banks basically each had their own money. And then if one inflated, you would leave that bank, go to the other bank. So you got A, B, C, D banks, and they each print their own money. And if A inflated, B would then, you'd go to B and A would go out of business. There has to be competition. You cannot have monopolies. And right now you have a monopoly printing money, you have a monopoly government, and that is why it doesn't work. That is communism. Communism never works. You need the competition. So take back my statement. If I have a government, it's got to be one term and it's got to be competition. 2 presidents and 2, everything is competing against each other. There's no Republican and Democrat. It's got to be you're the government and you're the government, and it's WWE. What does the market want? And that's who's going to win. And these are the laws. We're going to have gold-backed currency. We're going to have free trade, and we're going to have very limited government. You cannot have a Department of Education, and you cannot do roads, and you cannot do half the shit that's going on, education. No, we're going to have a legal, we're going to have a treasury, and we're going to have make sure the gold and silver are clean. And that's it. Everything else can be done in the free market. You need a road, somebody will build it. They'll make money on it. And that's the key. And no, none of this other shit. It's not needed in government. Keep it simple. The 5 things I tell you is what you should do. And that's it, right? Limited government, free trade, gold. There's a couple others. I got them in here somewhere. Anyway. Oh, I don't know. I can find it. But basically, that's the point of it. So we understand the wars are bullshit. There's for people to make money. And this is why these guys, this Lindsey Graham should not still be in power. Do your 1 term and that's it. You're supposed to represent the people, not steal from the people. So they're all corrupt. They set up their own bank accounts. What the fuck is going on? That is not what it's supposed to be about. Why is that happening? Because the government are putting themselves in and they're the ones coming up with the rules. No. We come up with the rules. That's what happens. Look at football. It's competition. Here's the Lions, the Eagles, the Vikings, 49ers, the Steelers. They compete for the championship. So the best team wins. That's what you want in government. You want the competition. So maybe each state has their own competition and you don't need a federal government. I don't know, but basically you need competition for everything. The money's got to be gold back. It's got to be safe. You cannot have lobbyists. You cannot serve 2 terms. I think if you do that, Daria's back. I don't know where she disappears and then she comes back and then she likes all my pictures and stuff. Although the one thing she didn't like is, so I say, she makes food and I said, the food looks tasty. Bon appetit, doing class now. Then I say, hope we meet soon. I can't wait to be with you. She doesn't like that one. And then she likes my picture. So the one meaningful one she's not liking. Why isn't she? See, and that's where I kind of I read between the lines with her. Anyway, that's how things should be. And that's kind of how business is. If GM can't handle it, you go work at Ford, or you work at Mercedes, whatever it is, you work somewhere else based on the management being idiots. The people in charge should know what they're doing. The difference is, if I'm running a Ford, I can hire a guy who's got experience at an auto company. But in the government, who has experience being a president? Nobody. So that's the biggest problem with being the president. There should be multiple presidents, I think, and it's 1 term. 1 term and you're out. And it should be an office that you're proud of, not this. And so that's really the issue of what's going on with that. So you got to be careful. Yeah, conspiracy. The whole thing's a conspiracy. The whole thing's a joke, which we understand. And we know that. We're smart enough to understand it. So just be careful with that. Otherwise, let's take our last look at gold and silver. Gold 33.30, silver 36.20. Again, it's playing this little game of dancing up. I don't know why I'm getting this Amazon bullshit. Anyway, so this little game where it won't go under 36.30, but we did see a 36 like 29 there, and then 30, and then it hits, and then it goes up. Very small derivative, so I don't think they're making it. And then silver 36.20 again. It's holding 36. This is just a day that nobody's buying. I would expect tomorrow to be a day, Thursday, where it zooms up. So the longer we stay here and we don't fall on a day like today, then we do expect that up day. I thought we were going to get that up day when it went up to 33.60 at 9:15. I thought, or at like 9 o'clock, I said, oh, here we go. And then just as quickly, the derivative down. So you got to be careful with that. Let's look at the Dow, which I'm sure is up for no reason. Yeah, it's up 159. No, it's not. It's up 99. It's up 99 to 42. So, excuse me. So the secret, how they're fucking everybody is by screwing the money, right? It's going to Ukraine or Jerusalem or whatever, and they're printing it, and the more they print, the less it's worth. But so holding the gold and silver down is actually good for us in the short term. It keeps so we can buy more. In the long term, we want it to go up. And as we see, gold's been going up nicely. As again, I showed you this yesterday. So this is 4/30/2022, and the ounce of gold. This is a Maple Leaf ML, and I bought it for 1973. Means it was selling for 1873 because he charges $100 premium. So 1873 on 4/30/2022. Now we're in 2025 and it's 33.33. So you can see where it's been headed, but they're keeping it down. It's still nowhere near its real value. So on one sense, is it going up because the dollar is going down? I'm not quite sure. We are buying it because the dollar is losing value. If the dollar wasn't losing value, would we buy it? Well, I don't know, but I would. But really, I bought the baseball cards, not expecting them to go up like they have. The Bitcoin's ridiculous, and the stocks are way too high because you can't make money in the dollar, right? This doesn't go up in value. So people get this. They have 20 grand in the bank. Like, what should I do with this to grow it? Because it's not worth anything in the bank. It's actually losing value in the bank. So 20 grand in the banks, you hold it for a year, it's now worth 15 grand. So you lose 5 grand by holding it in the bank, even though they give you 3% interest. What a joke that is. So even there, so gold going from 1,800 to 3,300, it's almost doubles at 3,600. So I've made about 95% on my investment in 3 years. If I held that 1,900 in the bank, it'd be worth about 1,200 now. As you can see, how much it costs to go to the grocery store now for everything. So we got a real problem on our hand, but they won't tell you. So everybody's being blindsided that the money's not worth anything, which is why I'm here, because I will explain that to you. And you're out is gold and silver. Those are your only two lifeboats because they can't print them. And that's the only thing you can't print. So the stocks are just being way overvalued. They're not worth the value that they're paying. That's why it's in a, whatchamacallit, a bubble. So that's the bubble, and Bitcoin can't be worth what it's going for. That's a bubble. But gold, somebody told me gold is a bubble. I was like laughing my ass off. What do you mean it's in a bubble? How can it be in a bubble? It's not. It's not even worth. It's worth a lot more than the price is. It's up here 10, 20 grand, and it's 3,300. How is this a bubble when this is the real price? So people are just stupid. And that's really what we deal with. We deal with idiots. And it's how do you handle the idiots you're dealing with is the problem. And I don't know what to say. You get stoic and you ignore them because there's nothing you can do. You can't change the idiot. You can't change the vampire. He thinks that the Federal Reserve was good and FDR was good. And they're both terrible. And you just, gold's bad. They have to print the dollars to grow the economy. Where do these people get this shit? Oh, probably from the communists and the Keynesians, who are the Jim Rickards, who are fucking clueless. Actually, the worst. They might even know what's going on and just lie about it. I don't know. But that's why we watch Egon, and that's about it. Mark McGuire. We don't watch the others because they don't know. Peter Schiff has no idea what he's talking about. He's just trying to sell gold because that's what he does. But he has no idea if you listen to him, if you can, doesn't know. So that's where we're at. They're printing the dollar to death. It's going out. If you're stuck holding stock, bonds, Bitcoin, dollars in the bank, or real estate trust, you're going to get screwed. It won't be worth anything. And we can go back to Rome and Spain and Portugal and France and England and see exactly that's what happened. And now it's our turn because these idiots are printing it to death. I mean, that's all it is. You can see it. You go to the grocery store, you go buy anything, and you see the prices are higher. You have the option to not buy it because you don't have a fair trade. I'm not going to trade you $10 for a can of tuna. It's not a fair trade. And so you don't. And you look for things that are fair trades. And it's harder and harder, but that's all you can do. And you just have to get out of it and get the gold and silver and just know that that's your only hope. And if you don't buy the gold and silver and you think you're fine, you're about to go broke. All I can tell you is if the dollar has any money and nobody wants it, it's not worth anything. So how are you okay in stocks and bonds that are worthless? How are you okay with that? I mean, it's amazing how stupid people actually get. So I don't know. I don't know how else to say it, but I think I said it pretty good here. So take that and go. Quick look at baseball today. Philly over 8.5, 3 units. Seattle, 2 units. San Diego over 9.5, 2 units. Texas over 8.5, 2 units. And the 49ers, 3 units. I think they played Colorado. Basically, a high school team could beat Colorado. And that's where we're at. Any questions or comments besides pile driver comments by Profit? And as we see, they're still dropping a little. 36.19 silver, 33.29 gold. So as long as gold's right in that range, look for a big day either tomorrow or Friday. And silver, look for that. We've got the 36. Now it's going to get to 38 and then run up to 40 would be nice. Profit. Do you expect gold to take off in value after July 1st, or will it be on a gradual plan? I have no idea. All July 1st is that they have to cover the gold and silver. They have to deliver it. So no longer, they're not delivering it now. They just give them paper and people want delivery and they're not delivering it. So they have to deliver. So I expect the price to go up. I don't know if it'll go up July 1st. I would expect in July to get higher prices, but I mean, you can't ask you can ask a questions like saying, well, do you know when KC's going to score their first touchdown? I mean, it's a stupid question. I have no idea. There's no way you have an idea of that. You know, the price is low. You know, it's going to go up. You know, Basel III will make the price go up, but I don't know. We'll see in July. July 1st. I doubt it's going to jump July 1st, but it should jump soon. So I expect by the end of July, it'd be much higher than it is July 1st, but I can't name a date. That's just silly. So I have no idea. All right. I have a 2:00 meeting, so I am going to have a quick bite and get ready and off to the pool after that. So have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Be smart, be logical. We understand the wars are just bullshit payoffs. That's why they're not finishing. And don't know. So Have a good day, everybody. Just be safe. Go buy gold and silver. Just keep buying it and buying it and buying it, because this is not worth anything. So the more you hold this, the longer you hold this, that includes Canada and any other country that's listening, it's worthless. The only place it's not, no, it's worthless everywhere. Maybe not in Zimbabwe. The ZIG is the only one. But otherwise, that's it. So again, thank you, McMahon, for the wrestling analogy. I thought it was a great example of free market economics. You're always listening to the customer. And I think that's what Russia and China, they just want to do business. They don't want the war. The U.S. wants the war. I can't understand why, because you're hurting business. And then everybody's joining BRICS, and then you're not able to, then you want to do tariffs. You want to kill the economy. And the question, Trump, is why? Is that George Soros? And my guess is yes. Why does he want to kill the economy? Because he hates America, because he's a Nazi. I mean, that's all I can come up with. It's just, Trump can't be this stupid on purpose. All right, everybody. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. And I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, ciao.